Okay, walking around, most of you are either done with your table or doing pretty good so far. Oh, I did not freeze the... Okay, so this is what we got for our table after we typed one of those equations in. Most of you guys got this far in our graph. We didn't have to worry about really plotting the negative 115, right? Remember we talked about that's what the arrows are for, right? Okay. Now, what I want to bring up before I give you a little bit more time to answer these x-intercepts and y-intercept and stuff like that is a lot of you guys have asked, well, how do I decide what numbers to put in my table, okay? Once you get it graphed on your calculator, the easiest way to decide, okay, so if I go here, and this is our last one. So I'm just going to type in this one, x squared, what was it? Plus something.
Minus 6.
Okay, thank you. Good, and I go to graph. So do you see, like, look at the same thing on your screen. Do you guys have the graph in front of you? So look at where the x-intercepts are. Do you guys see the x-intercepts on your screen? Do you see how I can kind of count that they're at like 2 and 4, right? So just go a little bit wider than the x-intercepts. So I went like negative 1 to 5, right? Because I noticed, oh, the y-intercept is here at 0. Here's my x-intercept. So I kind of just use my graph to decide, right? If I'm looking at a graph like this, I'm not going to do negative 9 to negative 3, right? That's not in my graph at all. So I looked at the graph and I used that to decide to do negative 1 to 5. Does that make sense, you guys? Okay, good. So that's how you decide the numbers in your table, okay? Raise your hand if you need more time to finish filling out these last parts that I asked you to do, these things. Do you need more? Anyone need more time for those?
I have a question about something else.
You're all done? Okay, yeah.
So when we're like entering the stuff into like the graph thing, does it matter what order you do it?
No.
Okay.
As long as the right thing is squared and the right thing is minused and things like that. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, if we're all done, then I can just randomly choose people's, right? So x-intercepts. Mariah, what are those?
The x-intercepts is it's 0, 2.
2, 0.
Oh, 2, 0, and then the other one is 4, 0.
Perfect. Okay. Evan, what's the y-intercept? It's okay if you're wrong, just take a guess.
8.
Good. 0, 8. Good. All right. Paige, what's the axis of symmetry? Okay. It is at 3. X equals 3. Good. Very good. Okay. Kasten, what's the vertex?
Vertex is going to be, is that low point thing?
Uh-huh.
I would have to say, oh shoot, is it like negative 1, 3?
So close. X is first. 3, negative 1. Okay. Maddie, what's the domain? Yep. Zaxton, what's the range?
Y to in with 1, negative 1.
Good. Greater than or equal to negative 1. Bailey, what's the direction of opening?
Complement.
Good. Itzhak, is it increasing left or right of the vertex?
Increasing at the right.
Good. Of vertex. And so that means the decreasing is left of vertex. Good. Okay, so now here's the kind of the big point of our lesson, right? I should be able to get all this information without graphing. Graphing makes it easier, but I can get it without graphing, okay? So what I want you to do is I want you to look at, okay? I want you to look at, here's our vertex, okay? Take a guess what form you think the vertex is probably going to come from. Nope. It's a good guess, though. I'll give you a hint. The vertex, the form we're looking for, gets its name from the vertex. What form do I get vertex from? Vertex form. No, you get it. Oh, sorry. I'm sorry. So my question was, let me repeat my question again so that it makes more sense. We're going to figure out how to get all of this information down here, not from the graph, but from these three equations. So I was going to start with vertex. So I was wondering, if I'm looking at vertex, which of the three forms do you think I'm going to look at? Okay. So it's vertex form. All right. So I know that if this was my vertex form, this one was my vertex, right? Okay. Now, just to remind you on the last one, okay, this was my vertex form, and this is my vertex. Okay, I want you to look at both. If it helps, open up your papers so you can see both, okay? But I want to know a pattern. Can anybody see? You guys, we're really going slow today. I need you guys to focus, okay? If we're going to have any homework time, I need you to focus, okay? So, I want you to see if you can come up with a pattern. Look at the vertex I got, and then the vertex form right here. And then look at it on the other one. Again, it might help to have the papers kind of open so you can see both. Does anybody think that they can tell me, how do I get the vertex from vertex form? Do you see a pattern? Look at this vertex form and vertex, and then look at this vertex form and vertex. Okay.
Oh, I figured it out.
Oh, there's a few of you. Okay, I'm going to let Mariah do it.
I don't know if I can explain it.
Okay, do you want me to let Aurora do it, or do you want to try? Aurora, go ahead.
So when it says x plus 1, you just make it opposite.
Oh, look, she noticed that the x coordinate is in the parentheses, but you make it opposite, right? And then look, was that true on this one? Okay, do I make the last coordinate opposite? No. Okay, so let me ask you this. If we're getting it, on example 4 here, for time I'm not going to make you do it, but if you were to put number 4a into vertex form, this is what it would look like, okay? So if you get the pattern, tell me, where's the vertex? Without graphing, where's the vertex? You think, Evan? Awesome. -2, -9. Because we make what's in the parentheses opposite, and then the other number is the vertex. Make sense? Okay, let's look for a pattern now with a different one. Okay, I want you now to look at, I'm not going to tell you what form it comes from. I want you to see if you can figure it out. But I want you to look at the y-intercept. Okay? So look at the y-intercept, and you may want to look at both equations. Whenever x is 0, good. And is there a form that it's pretty easy to see in? Standard, Zaxon, good. Do you see the 8 in standard there? Did I make it opposite? No. Okay. I agree. Okay, so now we know this one comes from vertex form. And now we know that the y-intercept comes from standard form. Okay, so on example 4a, I have the standard form right here. What's my y-intercept then? Without graphing, what my y-intercept going to be? Do you understand what we're talking about? Nope, that's a good guess though. My question was, here's the standard form. So what's the y-intercept? -5, just -5? 0, -5.
Wait, so on these ones, are we gonna have to do all of those things still?
Oh yeah,
Do you have to do those numbers?
no.
Oh, like,
Okay. All right, you guys, we're almost there. Okay, we got one more we got to get through today, and then we're going to save the rest for next time. X-intercepts. Which form do you think I look at for x-intercepts? Use both equations to help you look for a pattern. Yeah, Maddie.
Is it factored?
It is. I find x-intercepts from factored form. How do I get them from factored form?
It looks like you just make them opposite of the negative.
You got it. The -3, 1. Oh no, that's not what I wanted to do. Okay. Factored form. It looks here too. Factored form. The 2 and 4, I just make them opposite. Okay. So good. So that's the main part we had to get through today. 1, learn how to use our calculator, and 2, figure out where to get these key features from. But let me ask you this. Hold on. Okay. Last question for today. Okay. When I have these, some of them I make opposite and some of them don't. So I want a pattern. How do I know when I'm getting the info out of the form? Is there a pattern to when I make them opposite or not? Right? So the 2 and the 4 we made opposite. The 8 we did not make opposite, right? The 3 we made opposite, but the -1 we didn't make opposite, right? So I want to know, is there a pattern so that it's easier to decide when do I make them opposite or not? Zaxon, you think you got it?
If they're in parentheses.
Yeah, good job. The ones in parentheses, you make opposite. Do you guys see it? These factors were in parentheses, we made them opposite. The 8 wasn't, so we didn't. And then on vertex, the 1 in parentheses, the 3 was opposite, but the -1 wasn't. Okay, so you may want to write that down, okay? Right? So how do I know when to make the numbers opposite? If they're in parentheses with an X, okay? So you make them opposite if they're in parentheses with the X.
So they're not easily moving.
Yep. Okay, on example 4A here, for time I'm not going to make you do it, but if I did, this is what you would get for the factored form. Okay, so can you tell me the 2 x-intercepts? Based on all those things we just talked about?
-5, 0, and 0.
Good job. What's the easiest way to check your work? Graph it and see if you got it right. Okay, you guys did good. Mariah, what's your question?